Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Founder University Weekly Recap. So this is a podcast recording / meetup room just for all the people in the second cohort of the Founder University. So what is Founder University? It is a product incubator that is founded by Jason Cadagani's team. So it's helping people to build their first MVP, which means, minimum viability product. So it's targeted at, people either, full-time on their startup career or people who are still working a full-time job and just want to experiment with starting a startup company as a hobby / side hustle. So hopefully we get a few more friends to join the recording. If not, I have maybe 10-15 minutes of material prepared, and feel free to use the calling function on the app to ask questions or make comments, or you can also join the discussion here. So for people new to the app, there should be a phone button at the bottom here. So once you click it, you can join the queue, and I can take your call or invite you to speak to start a conversation. So this will be the recap of week 1 and week 2 of the Founder University. Basically, we started generating ideas for our startups and enter the planning and prototyping phase for our MVP. Don't know if anyone in the audience wants to share their idea or product at this stage. If so, please use the calling function. Otherwise, I will just share a little bit about my own idea and product, and feel free to ask any questions if you have any. Yeah, thank you. So for the first week, we start thinking about our MVP idea. And since I've been a kind of a hobby podcaster for the past 6 months or so I've got a lot of first-hand experience as a podcaster, and found out there are some pain points for someone who didn't have any previous social media presence, and it's really hard for them to grow their podcast audience. Just to provide you some data here, so I wrote a first part of my Twitter thread here just to give you some ideas. So basically, I almost had less than probably 200 Twitter followers, so almost close to zero, social media presence. And when I started in September last year, started a new podcast, actually mostly recorded live on the calling app here, and also recordings distributed through Buzzsprout. It's a podcast hosting service that allows you to get listed on platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, Overcast, basically all the platforms that take RSS links. So I've been just semi-regularly tracking my podcast exposure. So for the past 6 months, so this is data up to February this year. So just reached about, I would say, probably 100 subscribers across all platforms, and the average listens per episode is probably about 300, and definitely see a lot of fluctuations. Don't know what the reason is. Probably it's just because I don't really have a regular posting schedule. Could be either on a Monday or a Saturday afternoon, and sometimes I'll take a 2 or 3 week break, so not so regularly. That's definitely something I think I should improve on myself. So through this 6 months experiment, found out there are several things I like about the current state of podcast industry. The first one is the RSS mechanism. So RSS is basically you have these metadata that links to your web address and the audio file in the case of podcast. So it'll be much easier for you to list your podcast almost anywhere on the internet and not really subject to any censorship in most cases. For the international or the US audience, there are several really big podcast apps, for example, in China, where they don't really use the RSS mechanism. So you have to upload your own audio file to the platform. And that's where we see a lot of episodes just got randomly taken down sometimes, most likely for the content. And this RSS thing is definitely much easier, for you to express your thoughts in a more I'll say free and liberal way. And second thing I like about the podcast industry is that it's, I would say, probably much low cost than other media platforms. So for example, the Apple and Spotify, it's basically free to get listed there once you have your own RSS feed. And to get a consistent RSS feed is also pretty low cost. I think if you are super technical, you can set up a RSS feed on your own computer with the internet. If you're less technical, you can definitely use one of the hundreds of RSS hosting service there. So they cost anywhere from $0 to probably $10-15 a month, so very affordable. And last thing I observed recently is that the innovation in the podcast tech space is just getting faster and faster. So a lot of the newer podcast apps, for example, Calling, or there are several ones in China, they start to give you more social interaction capability within the app. So you can see your number of subscribers, unlike the Apple or Spotify. And you can also have people comment under your podcast episodes, and you can even reply to them. And some of the more advanced features in some apps, including you can actually send a voice reply as a podcast host to the listeners, just to make the host-listener relationship even more intimate and friendly. So definitely a lot of things we can experiment in the future with voice. And that's all the good things I like. And there are several things I think that could be improved in the near future if everyone starts to generate ideas and work closely with each other. So first of all, it's definitely that, as just I mentioned, small platforms, they provide more social functions for the host and audience. However, most big platforms, they are still using the most basic vanilla function of the RSS feed. So you can only have a thumbnail for your episode, and then some show notes, which is mostly text. Sometimes people attach images, and then the only way for people to interact is basically you have to list your email address or social handles, or in the case of China, sometimes your WeChat public account, so people can talk to you outside the podcasting app. So there's definitely this big layer of communication obstruction there on the largest platforms right now. And secondly is still the commercialization model, or the ad business model for podcast. What I found out is I think US as the leader in the podcast industry, They've been doing relatively well right now. So you have a lot of services like I think it's called like Podcorns, where you can just submit proposals to business advertisers on the website. And usually, like if you're a smaller podcast, you charge a $10 to $30 flat fee per episode to place a reading ad on your episode. The business model is not so popular in other regions in the podcast industry. For example, like in China, people are still kind of struggling to get ads for their podcast. Only I would say probably the top 10 or 15 podcast / studios are getting constant big commercial deals with companies. And all the rest, if you are like under 2,000 subscribers, usually you are kind of struggling. You don't have a constant stream of income for your podcast. So a potential solution I was thinking of and trying to build that into my MVP is if we start to have a big, cluster / collection of indie podcasts. Even though they might be all under 1,000 or 500 subscribers, maybe we can form a syndicate and try to negotiate advertisement deals with the companies. So they will just pay us a flat fee as a group, and we'll kind of all put the ads on our podcast episodes, and hopefully divide the flat fee by the actual number of listens for that advertised episode. So that's a business model that's haven't seen recently. So hopefully that will work out in the next few months. And as I was trying to do the experiment, so that's pretty much the idea part for my MVP. And for the technical part, right now I'm just building this website using bubble.io. So it's a no-code or low-code website building service, and I will probably attach the link to my MVP later in the show notes if you want to check out and provide some feedback. So that's summary of my first 2-week experience of the Founder University. If anyone in the audience has any questions or you want to share your own experience with the Founder University, feel free to make a calling here using the button at the bottom. And I'll just wait for a few minutes here. Hi, Eva, right?
Yeah, Evan. Can you hear me?
Evan, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Hi, Evan. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Pretty good. Yeah, thank you for calling.
Yeah, of course. I like this. I saw this on Twitter, so that you were doing this. So, you're just doing kind of recaps on Founder University every week.
Yeah, basically that's the plan. And yeah, feel free to share anything, or this is I'm totally open to advertising your own product. So feel free to do that as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't not necessarily advertising, but I can talk about a little about what I'm working on in the cohort. I'm currently a college student, a junior, and and so I have a year left. And so the past 2 years I've been working on I've been running a at-home tech service company. So kind of on the side where I'm just very tech focused, and troubleshooting more on that side really comes easy to me. So I've been servicing people in my local area with tech problems and just tech support in general. And so I've seen that there's a kind of a gap, or I was calling it a black hole of tech support service alongside the evolution of technology and new products that come out every single year. I've seen an increase of people who can't find proper tech support for just simple questions. They're on the phone with Apple for 4 hours. They have to go to Best Buy Geek Squad. Who would ever want to do that? Or they go on Facebook and look if anyone, or Nextdoor, the Nextdoor app, and look if anyone is looking for tech work or if anyone can help. So what I've realized is that doing small tech work and doing like tech service is not the most scalable idea. So through just the first 2 weeks of Founder University, I've kind of been fostering a new idea to be able to form what I'm doing, like tech work and tech service for people, into a mobile app that really just connects local tech pros, people like me, with customers who have tech issues. There's no consumer application that solely focuses on tech support for local areas and connecting people. There's other ones like TaskRabbit and like Thumbtack that do, and Angie's List as well, that do connect like companies with consumers for home improvement and other like smart home things. So they do have that where it's included with like smart home product installations, but there is no consumer app that focuses solely on tech in the home as well as tech support, localized and like pretty much vetted pros to help people with a certain problem. So that's kind of the MVP that I'm working on right now. I'm building just a landing page right now that I'm going to put out on all my social media accounts to send out to friends and family, and just explain the app, explain what we're trying to do, and just get people's emails collected and garner interest to see if people would actually want to, because I've gotten more customers than I ever thought I would in just my local area who just need small tech things or like a Wi-Fi installed and things like that. And I know there's lots of people like me in certain areas that have inherent tech skills, but they work another job or something like that. So I see this as a new gateway to let those people turn their skills into a side gig and become somewhat of a gig worker and work on their own terms, just like a DoorDasher would, or an Instacart shopper would. But instead, these people have like somewhat inherent tech skills, and then we can also teach them a bit and give them training through the app, and then give them an opportunity to connect with customers in local areas so that we can kind of democratize tech support, because I think the tech companies have kind of let it go by the wayside of garnering good support as well as personalized people. So that's what I'm working on, just to talk about it. Haven't really talked to anyone about it, so yeah.
Yeah, that sounds very awesome. Yeah, thank you. I'm the type of person who like actually built my own like desktop computers before, so I'm probably not your like targeted customers, but maybe more like could be a potential service provider on your website. So just curious, like, have you thought about anything like about the pricing model yet?
I have not. I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, I know a lot of, because I'm kind of taking from my experience of doing local tech support, to how like someone like me who would sign up as like a pro would want to get paid. So, I mean, I do like hourly, and sometimes that's helpful and not necessarily helpful. So there's a few things that I need to figure out exactly how much like a tech pro who signs up as a provider would actually get paid, and like what that and how that algorithm or how that kind of works in terms of like, do they just get paid per the hour that they do actually work? These other applications that do this stuff, like gig apps, that kind of, they have their own like ways of like pricing it out. So I kind of need to still trying to investigate exactly how I would go about that. In terms of the consumer side, I'm wrestling with the subscription model, but then how do I necessarily encourage someone to sign up for a subscription if it's a one-time tech support thing, or like a package where you can purchase a few different, like 3 different sessions with Tech Pro and they like get added to your account, like credits. But in terms of exact dollar amounts, I'm not positive. The thing that is interesting is that if you do look up, like in local areas, you can look up on these like applications like Thumbtack, if you know it, that you can look up the average price for a pro for like any job. So if I go on and look just for like tech, because they just have a small subsection for tech versus like all their other home improvement stuff, the local area prices are ranging to like high 80s per hour. So it's definitely, and it's a weird thing because it's for pros and for providers, it's sometimes a very simple job, but for a consumer, they see it as like a godsend. Like they cannot do that without this person. They need help. Because a lot of people just don't know. They just can't figure out on their own or don't want to. And what I found is a lot of these people are also willing to pay the premium to have someone come help. So I just need to kind of figure out how to be able to charge the correct amount, as well as like, you know, bring in recurring customers, bring them back. And so that's always like a subscription model idea. But I need to still finding a way to incentivize why someone should sign up for a subscription if it's going to be a 1 monthly thing every couple of months. But yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I think, you know, the traditional, like, you know, maintenance or like warranty model is usually, you know, directly attached to a specific product. So I think some like innovation maybe you can think of is maybe the warranty service will be more like related to a person. So, you know, the customer, like they can maybe register their whole like collection of like electronic devices on the service. So instead of, you know, paying like, you know, just $100 for your laptop, you can pay like, you know, like $150 or $200 for your laptop, tablet, and phone. Just I think that could be something like innovative.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, great point. Thank you. Because like, yeah, you can bundle it, and then they have like that warranty or like support on all of that stuff instead of exactly, because that's the other thing. Things don't work together. Like different products aren't shown on the same dashboard or don't have the same support. You buy Apple Care on your phone, and then you get a Dell, you get a PC, and you get Dell like Pro support, and then you have an iPad, you have separate Apple Care, and blah blah blah. It goes on. So yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. It's really helpful.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you for calling here.
Thanks.
So, yep. Is Lita? Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me? First of all, I hope my microphone works.
Yeah, it works great. Yeah, I can hear
All right.
you. Yep.
Okay, so mine is a bit weird. I'm actually, to be honest, I'm here mostly because I want to test calling. I learned about this app a few months ago, and I was wondering how it works. So let's see how it goes. So my project is a bit weird. It's not the usual sort of app-focused, service-focused thing that you see on the Founder University cohort this time. It's basically my main project is creating recreating archaeological sites in VR and making them fully explorable, interactive, and narrative driven. That's the main idea behind it. And the reason for me being in the Founder University is trying to find if this is something that's, that can be monetized, if it's a way of making this a business. So that's the basic idea behind it.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, like when I was in like college and grad school, I did some like VR AR.
No, it's actually it's not an ed tech thing. It can be used, but if a school says we want to use your world, so by the way, I have created already 3 worlds: the Athens Agora, the Athens Acropolis, and the Olympia. So as a test, they exist. So far, I have in total all 3 worlds have something like 2,000 visitors so far. So yeah, I do tours of them, explaining people, the history of the place, of these places, and my project. And my main goal is not to make this an ed tech. This is not for schools. If a school wants to use this or a university, they are welcome to use it. But my main thing is the general public, in the same way that the archaeological sites, if you want to go today to the Acropolis, the majority of the visitors, of course, are not universities or students from schools. It's tourists in groups or individuals. And the total number of visitors in the Acropolis in Athens is about 3 to 4 million a year. So that's my basic premise.
Awesome. So just curious about the technical side. Yeah, feel free to share if you want to share. I know there are could be some, like technical secrets there, but what kind of platforms are you building your work on?
The platform is, if you are a user of VR, you might be aware of this platform. Is a social VR platform called AltSpace, which allows people to upload their worlds, create worlds inside the platform itself, or create them in Unity. If you are aware of what this, it's a game engine. Unity is a game engine that's free to use and allows people to create 3D worlds and 3D games. Also 2D games, but mostly 3D. So yes, it's mainly my worlds are built in Unity, and the 3D models I use are made in Blender. So both platforms I use to build my stuff are free. So that's a big plus.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, actually my most recent job is at a game company, and we also use Unity a lot. Yeah,
most people do.
Yeah, they don't charge you until you make huge amount of money. So that's a pretty good thing.
Until you have, I don't remember if they, I'm not sure if they changed this. It's either 10,000 euros or $10,000 or of revenue. And if you go beyond that, that's when they start to charge you. I'm not sure if I ever get to that point. If I ever get to that point, I would be very happy. I don't know if this is going to ever happen. But yes, my basic idea of joining the Founder University was exploring ways in which this can become a business, if possible.
Yep, sounds like a great idea. Just curious, have you put any thoughts into the pricing model yet?
I need to have a business model first before I put any pricing on it. I think maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And and even you need a business model, and also I need to understand what sort of experiences people would be interested in having there. One very basic model would be having a little experience that's something like a murder mystery that people can go through and at the same time learn about the history of the area. Something like that. As simple as that.
Yeah, sounds very interesting. Yeah, Lita, and also Evan, if you guys wanna maybe DM me or all the links you want people to see, experience your products. Yeah, feel free to do it on. I think you can do it on calling, or you can do it on Twitter.
Maybe Twitter, because I'm connected to you on Twitter, I think, if I'm not.
Okay, sounds good.
Maybe.
Yeah, I will.
Or calling. As I said, one of the reasons I connected here is basically I want to test the platform too. It's interesting. So I'll see if I can DM you information through through calling. That would be interesting.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, I will make sure I put all the links on the show notes later when I publish this episode this weekend. So yeah, definitely I will probably be one of the testers, users for your products, just to see how it works. Yeah, definitely looking forward to trying it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, it seems like we have all the people from Founder University shared their products or their ideas. So my plan is to hopefully host this once a week, just after each live session, so we can share a little bit about our weekly progress and hopefully get some feedback from the other people joining the show. So that wraps up our first episode. If you have any questions or comments when you listen to this show later published, feel free to leave a comment, or you can contact me on Twitter just to provide any feedback. That's all. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining the conversation. Hope you'll have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.